Hello, my name is Jason Hooper, and I'm the orchestra director at College Station High School. If you're new to the CSHS Orchestra, welcome. And if you're a returning student, welcome back. I'm really lucky because I love music and I have a job where I get to do the things that I love. When I think about music programs and I think about music advocacy, yes, playing a string instrument does increase your IQ and makes you smarter and it makes you a better test taker, and that's all the stuff that we kind of tell the public to try to get funding and all that good stuff. But there's something that sort of transcends all of the skill building. There's something that's a higher value than all of that. And when you're on stage performing at Carnegie Hall, that's something that you'll get to experience, that numismatic quality when you connect to music at a high level in a special place. That's something that supersedes music teaches me how to pay attention and, get all the details in and be conscientious and all that stuff. This is something beyond that. It's something that's more of on a personal level, on a spiritual level, if you will, that you get to experience that overrides all of the little perks and benefits that go along with learning an instrument. So to get there and achieve our goals and to do all that stuff, we've got to have some nuts and bolts in place. We've got to have some procedures. We've got to do things in a certain way so that we can maximize our efforts and we can be organized and we can do all that stuff. And that's why we've got a handbook here with a lot of guidelines, a lot of policy in it, just to make sure that everything runs smoothly. This is our syllabus or handbook, if you will, and you can find this available on our Schoology group in the resources page. You can find this on our website, and there's a Google Drive link where you can download this as well. So go ahead and download this, and you're going to need to print out the forms in the back, and you're going to need to get those forms back to me by Friday, August 26th. I tried to arrange the handbook to where the important stuff is right at the start. So one of the most important things in the handbook are our dates. So if you look here, it's for the 22-23 school year, and we've got all of our dates coming through here all the way up until graduation. August 20th, that's this Saturday. It's quick, and this is an orientation program for our freshmen and for our returning students. We've got a program called Overture. So if you're a freshman in the CSHS Orchestra, you're going to be paired up with an upperclassman that's going to help mentor you through the school year. We're going to start in the auditorium at 8 o'clock, and the concert's going to be at 4. As the title would indicate, there will be ice cream after the concert. Some of that time will be used just to rehearse the music and get it ready, but that won't be the whole time. We'll do a lot of games and we'll do a lot of icebreakers just so everybody starts getting to know everybody in the program. September 6th through 8 are our uniform fittings, and that's going to be here in the orchestra hall from 4 to 7 after school. Everybody needs a uniform to play. If you don't have a uniform, you can't play. So we'll have the 6th for our boys, the 7th for our girls, and the 8th will be a makeup day and for anybody else who wants to come in and get their uniform. Some of this stuff won't apply to everybody, like all region auditions. Not everybody's gonna audition for region. Some people will, some people won't. If you're auditioning for region, October 1st, we're hosting this year. We're hosting a lot of stuff this year, which I like because we don't have to take buses anywhere. We don't have to wake up extra early to drive anywhere. Everything's gonna be right here at our school, and we have a beautiful facility and a wonderful campus, and I'm really glad that we get to use it to host events. I'm not gonna go through all these dates with you, but I do wanna draw your attention to May 26th. That is graduation in Reed Arena, and we will have an early morning rehearsal, and our graduation will start probably around 6 p.m., maybe depending upon who else is using Reed Arena that day. Please get out your calendar and write in that graduation ceremony, okay? If you're a senior, you're gonna be graduating, okay? If you're a freshman, sophomore, or junior, you're gonna be playing in the orchestra. It is a mandatory event, so plan on being there. Please do not schedule your family vacations for the 26th of May, all right? So I got this calendar from my bank. It's pretty cool, and you can just write in your dates and stuff in this calendar and get organized. All right, you can take all these dates right now and program them into your phone if you use iCal or Google Calendar, whatever your device is, and you can start getting organized right now. This year, communication is going to be critical, and we have to find efficient ways for me to get information out to all of you. And another piece of feedback that I got from parents is, hey, my kid never tells me anything. If that's the case and your student doesn't tell you everything or anything, go to this short URL and you can see exactly what the students are seeing every day in the announcements. This will be posted every day in class on the projector screen, and you can get the same information. It is the most used and most up-to-date information that we have. So I would bookmark this, and if you want to know what's going up periodically, maybe check in on it. We have a Remind, and it's CSHS Orch TX, and it's highly recommended. If we're going to be having a concert or we're going to have a charms assessment, do something like that, it will go out over the Remind. You will get a lot of reminders, and it's highly recommended. It's very valuable. We have a piece of software that we use to take assessments, and that's called Charms, and it's available through charmsoffice.com. There's a mobile app that we use, and the students go into the recording studio, and every week they will make a recording and they'll submit it for me to grade, and that will be their weekly assessment grade. Our Charms class code is CSHS Orch. So you'll need this to be able to log in with your email and your password. It is required, and it's going to be your responsibility to make sure that your device can connect to Charms and that you can upload your Charms assessments every week. That's one of the things that we're going to be doing on Saturday, is making sure that everybody can log into their Charms and can submit Charms recordings. Another thing that we're going to be doing on Saturday is we're going to be getting involved in Group Me, and it's a group chat for your section. We do have some socials connected with our orchestra. You can see them there, and we do have a Schoology page, and we have our Schoology group. And here's our Schoology group code. Do not send me DMs on Schoology, all right? If you send me DMs on Schoology, it's gonna be 5 points off your grade for every message you send me. On the next page, I have some orchestra expectations, and again, I'm not gonna read to you everything on here, but just make sure that you're on time. That's something that we need to work on as a group. And what does on time mean? That means you're in your seat ready to tune when the bell rings. Anything other than that is tardy. We've got a lot of forms for y'all to fill out, and some of them are for me so that I can have electronic forms. So if we're on a trip or something and I need somebody's medical information, or I need a phone number, or I need whatever, I can get it immediately on my electronic device. Some of them are required by the school district. So our required forms are online. They're Google forms. There's 2 forms that you're gonna need. You're gonna need a travel form, and you're going to need a contact form. The next page is the grading policy, and this is pretty straightforward. We have 2 grades. We have academic practice grades and academic achievement grades, and these percentages and categories are set by the district. So your academic practice grade, that's going to be showing up to class with all your supplies. In first period orchestra, you're required to attend a weekly sectional. Then 75% of your grade is going to be your Charms assessments. And every week you're going to submit a Charms assessment, and each week I pick out a few measures from your concert music, and you'll be required to perform those measures and record it and send it to me, and I'll grade it. And you get as many chances as you want. If you record it and you're not happy with it, you can delete it and do it again, delete it, do it again, until you get something that you're absolutely happy with. I want to hear you when you're at your best, and I want you to submit your best work to me. It's not going to be a gotcha thing where I make you play in class in front of everybody. Our final exam grades are going to be an average of our concert grades. So for the first semester, you'll have the ice cream social, you'll have our fall concert, and you'll have our holiday concert. And all 3 of those together will accumulate towards your final exam grade. Everybody always asks me, well, do we have to show up to the final? Yes, because that final exam is going to be a rehearsal, and we're going to need to rehearse because we've got stuff coming up, and we got to be able to learn that music. Alternate assignments, if you're not able to attend because you have a UIL conflict, then you'll need to complete an alternate assignment. It's either going to be an essay or doing some service hours for the organization. If it's not a UIL excused event, you're going to have to run that by me. I understand that life happens, and sometimes you're going to have to miss a concert. Sometimes there's going to be a funeral or something that happens, and you're going to have no control over it. But there's other things that happen, like, hey, it's my puppy's birthday party and I can't go to the concert or whatever. Yeah, those are not going to be excused. So run it by me, and if you have any of those conflicts right now that you know of, you've got the whole schedule, and you can let me know right now that you're going to have a conflict, and I can prepare for that, and you can prepare for that. Students in Texas need at least one fine arts credit to graduate from high school, and orchestra can be one of those credits, but there is an attendance requirement. According to the state legislation, you have to earn a 70% or higher, and you have to attend 90% of the class periods. Advanced credit is offered to juniors and seniors only, and it's even more specific than that. You have had to have completed 4 semesters of orchestra before you're allowed to take it for advanced credit. It's not my rule, it's the district rule. In fact, they're going to be phasing this out completely within the next couple years. Letterman jackets are a thing. Students can qualify for one of these Letterman jackets, and they're pretty nice. This one's for Jordan Carter. You can qualify for a letter jacket if you make the semifinals of our solo competition or if you make all-state. So getting back to our academic achievement, you're going to be submitting these charms recordings, and so how are those graded? Well, we have a rubric right here, and the rubric tells you exactly how you're going to be graded. Okay, there are some subjective components to music, like, hey, do you like this, or is this fun, or whatever? But there are also some objective components to music, like is it in tune? Is there good phrasing? Are you doing the right bowings? Are you counting the rhythms correctly? And all of these categories are added up together so that you get a total score. Orchestra class is not a gimme. It's not just a free 100 like some of these other classes. You're gonna have to earn your grade. So that means you're gonna have to take those measures that I assign you every week, and you're gonna have to practice them and perform them and show your aptitude. Having those high expectations and striving for perfection, that's one of the reasons why we have one of the most competitive orchestra programs out there. So learn your music. You have as many chances to record it as you want. You can record it again and again and again until you get it just right. And then you can hit that submit button. All right, the next couple of pages are instrument maintenance, and there's a lot of things that we can check to make sure that our instruments are in good shape. If every day, if we can at least check to make sure our bridges are straight, that would be very helpful, because a bridge replacement, that's one of the most common repairs that we have to do, and it's expensive, and it's easy to prevent. So if your bridge is tilted, it's gonna warp over time. So just double check to make sure that your bridge is straight. A $50 repair can turn into a $1,000 repair really quickly. If we have an open seam, they charge by the inch. So if it's one of our cellos or bass instruments like what's behind me, if a seam starts to open up and y'all catch that really quickly, well, it's gonna be like $50 to glue it back together, no big deal. But if the seam starts to run, well, it doesn't always just open up the seam. Sometimes it takes some of the ribs with it, as the glue can pull some of the ribs apart, and now you're talking about a $1,000 repair. So every day, if you can just kind of look at your seams, especially if the weather changes, especially if it starts to get dry or cold, you double check to make sure that you don't have any open seams. And the second you find one, you come and tell me. End pin repairs are also pretty expensive. There's this ebony bushing right here, and ebony is a hardwood, and it's very expensive. It only comes from a few places. And so if that bushing cracks, that's immediately a $400 repair, and it might be more than that. So make sure every time we transport our cellos and basses that those end pins are in. And if we knock it down, if we're setting our instruments down rough, that's going to be expensive, so don't do that. We have this stuff called rosin, and it's made from tree sap, and it's very important to rosin your bow. If you don't have rosin on your bow, then it won't rub against the string, and it won't vibrate the string, and you won't get a good sound. You got to rosin your bow every day, and you got to take off the old rosin because it dries out. So take the old rosin off, put the new rosin on, and that's how you're going to make your best sound. And speaking of the bow, you want to loosen up your bow after you're done playing. I'm not saying loosen it all the way till it goes slack. That's not what you want, but you don't want it to be fully tightened either. So just take it 3 or 4 screws, loosen it up, and then your bow hair will last a lot longer. Bow hair is another thing that's held together by glue, It's just glued in right at the tip. So if you're tapping your bow or you're doing something like that, some people have these like nervous habits, and you're tapping your bow against your stand. Well, eventually that plug is just going to pop. It's going to come right out, and then now we got to pay for a rehair. The next area of forms, you're going to need to print these forms out, and you're going to need to turn them into me. Okay. The first one is the Exhibit D form, and this is just a generic form from LegalZoom. Now, just so you know, I'm not a lawyer and I don't play one on TV, but it's my understanding that when you're in a public place, you don't have an expectation of privacy. So if we're doing a public performance, you can't expect that people aren't going to take pictures of you. In fact, it's their First Amendment right. It's a protected activity, and they're allowed to take pictures of you when you're on stage performing. Anything that you can see with your eyes in public, people can take pictures of. All of our concerts are recorded, and I put them up on YouTube, and that's good promotion for our program. So if you're in a situation where, hey, you're in witness protection, or it's dangerous for you to have pictures of your student, go out on the internet. Maybe being in the performing arts is not the best choice for you and your student. Maybe you could do like an art class or something like that. Only tick this box if you don't give permission. This right here is a district required form that they started making us do. It has all kinds of stuff that you'll need to fill out, and this goes to central office. It's 2 pages, and a lot of this information is kind of redundant, but this is not for me, this is for the district. There's 2 really important organizations that I want you to be familiar with, and one of them is Encore. Encore is our parent booster organization, and I've got some information about Encore right here. And later on in this packet, there's going to be a form in the back if you want to join Encore as a parent and you want to help out our program, do some volunteer work. If you're on board with what we're doing here and you're a big believer in music, then you can get involved and you can help out your student, your child, and you can help out our program. We also have our student leadership program, and we've got a page here about our student leadership program and a QR code if you want to sign up to be a member. So all this week, I've been doing something called Teacher in Service, and I've been going to a bunch of meetings, and there's a lot of assumptions that are made about our students, what they want and what they need. But does anybody ever talk to our students? Does anybody ever listen to them and have those conversations about, what do you want? What do you want to get out of orchestra? What kind of music do you want to play? What kind of trips do you want to go on? And that's kind of the point of student leadership, is to get the students involved and have them tell me what they want to do, and so that the program's shaped around them and not about my assumption about what they want. Student leadership meets on Fridays, and we've got officers, we've got president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and some auxiliary officers as well. And they meet, and they've got a budget, and they do fundraising, and they host events, and they do a bunch of fun stuff. So student leadership is a cool thing. Consider joining. The next one is your handbook agreement form, and this says that you've read and understand the College Station High School Orchestra Handbook and agree to follow its policies and guidelines. Don't sign here unless you've read it and agree to it, and make sure you actually enter this information before you tick these boxes. Okay, here's the membership form if you want to sign up for Encore, and here's our sponsorship form if you want to sponsor our orchestra, or if you know of somebody that wants to be a sponsor, you know of a business that might want to donate to help our students, then you can get this out to them. Sponsors will appear in our program, and we have some posters outside the auditorium before our concerts that have all of our sponsors listed there. So that's a broad overview of our handbook. Make sure to go through there and get the details, especially the things like the calendar, and get those dates programmed in. And this is going to be a great year. I'm really excited about it, and I'm looking forward to see y'all on Wednesday.